back, everybody. We are just about to get started with NESCardinality, playing Dragon Warrior. Again, just another thanks to everybody with the donations, the hosts just hanging out with us even. It's lovely to have everybody get together and watch some video games and raise money for a good cause. With that, I'm going to give the floor to NESCardinality. And, well, if you haven't seen this run, it's a very special thing, so let's see what he's got for us.
Yeah, I really love playing this run in any event I can. It really is something. I've spent a lot of time improving manipulations in this game, and just the fact that things can be manipulated kind of blows my mind. The factors that have to come together to make this run possible are just too many to name. The big thing that I always like to cite is the fact that in order to simulate the visual appearance of walking in this game, the animators, the graphics designers have your character with two different alternating sprites. One with like 1 foot forward, the other with the other foot forward, and they just alternate every 16 frames. And I believe that in order to make the walking look coordinated, the game only lets you move in multiples of 16 frames. So when you stop on a square, your sprite alternates, and it locks you in place for 16 frames until the next alternation. And this means that every time we stop in place and let the RNG cycle past RNG we don't want, we know exactly what frame we're on when we start moving again, and we have an entire quarter second to make sure that we move at the right time. So, just one of the many things I wanted to mention that allows this run to be possible. I will get started whenever they are ready. 3, 2, 1, go! How can we help you? Alright. So, basically what happens is every time we save and reset, the game, in order to give us a fresh set of RNG, it calculates a new RNG checksum, which is our starting RNG value from basically all our stats, our strength, our gold, our experience, our level, and even our name. So I actually had to name myself exclamation point to use the manipulations that I mapped out in advance for this run. It wouldn't work with any other name. So the king won't let us save until we actually physically exit the room. So I pick up all that treasure. Then we have to exit, return, save, and reset. And now here, I have to clear this text box on a specific frame, and I got it there. So what you're gonna see downstairs is these ladies are gonna go down, up, left, right, right, right. And that's just a way of verifying that we are in fact on the correct frame, that we exited, that we cleared that text box at the right moment. So in order to avoid encounters on the overworld map, we're just gonna stop. This is the first stop. We have a second one here, and another one here. Every time we stop, as I mentioned earlier, we're locked in place for 16 frames, and the RNG cycles forward 16 values during that time. And what this does is it allows us to cycle past an unwanted encounter. So, before I did this run, long before in fact, I took a look at how far we could walk before we encountered an enemy. And then in order to avoid that enemy, we just stop on the square before, or we can stop on, a few squares before if we want more leeway. And we just repeat this process until we make it to any destination on the world map. In this case, we're trying to reach the Metal Slime Zone, because we want to build our experience as quickly as possible. We're trying to get ourselves to level 7, where we learn the Sleep Spell. I have to take a little bit longer of a pause here to set up our first Metal Slime encounter. And we're going to manipulate our first attack to do an excellent move. So you'll see 6 commands here, and then I attack, we get an excellent move, and there goes our first Metal Slime. Have to take a pause here. Now for marathon safety, I have to route in a random enemy here, and we have to act first against that enemy, so it's going to be either a Magiwyvern or a Knight. It looks by the length of this walk that it's going to be a Knight. So we run away, and we're going to pause a little bit more. And this is just to let the RNG cycle past a lot of other unwanted encounters, and into our second Metal Slime. And we do a little manipulation here to get our second excellent move. 2 more metal slimes to go. Same process here. I hope this is right. Yes. 3 commands here. Command, command, command. There's our 3rd excellent move. I like to point out how all those metal slimes happen really quickly. Here we have to take a longer pause to get what we're looking for. And a big part of this is just setting up the 2 possibilities of enemies that we act first against, either a Wraith Knight or a Knight here. Actually, if we get the Knight... No. If we were to get the Knight, he actually casts Stop Spell. He acts first, but he casts Stop Spell, so that doesn't do anything bad to us. That's not a problem. 5 commands. Command, 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 command. And there's our 4th excellent move, which brings us to level 7, where we learn the Sleep Spell, which is the reason we have to get to this level to beat the game. There is no winning at level 6, for example. And I have a predetermined Death Warp here. The Wraith Knight, we do act first against it, but... the other possibility was a Demon Knight, and the Demon Knight would have acted first against us, so that would have been even quicker. But they're both smooth and clean. So we take a Death Warp for location here. We're going to a location that's kind of closer to home. So we're going to take this opportunity to save and reset. Now we have different stats, so we get a new RNG checksum. Guard's going to go left, because I got the correct frame. I cleared the text box on the first frame. The ladies will go down and up. There we go. So our next stop is Remolder. We need to go there to buy keys. We need 3 keys to beat the game, but we're actually going to buy 5 keys. The other 2 keys are going to be used to procure wings in Remolder. And those are going to save us an 80-second walk home at the end of the game. Gonna take some damage from the swamp here, and a nice long pause here to set up a good clean walk through the cave. And this is where I start listening to bonks against the wall to judge exactly where I am. Okay, we're good. And we don't actually have enough gold for the keys we're gonna buy, by the way. So we're gonna fight a Goldman before we go into Remolder. And the Goldman is the first reason that we need the Sleep Spell. We wouldn't be able to beat him at level 7 with no weapon if we didn't have the Sleep Spell. So I have to do a manipulation here just to make sure that sleep works. It doesn't work every time. And then I'm gonna do manipulations to make sure that the Hurt spell always does 11 or 12 damage. Except for the last one, where we have a bigger range. Here we're only gonna do 6 damage, but I'm doing a specific manipulation so that he gives us enough gold that we can actually afford 5 keys. Here we're gonna get either a Warlock or a Wolf. We're gonna run away. For some reason, when I was looking through the RNG of that section, I always got, like, a flood of enemies, so I figured if I just had to run from one single enemy, that's not too bad, so I always left those in for the marathon safe route. So we've reached Remolder. We're gonna buy our 5 keys first. Have just enough money to afford them. We're gonna have 1 gold left over, which we're gonna lose when we Death Warp. When we Death Warp, we lose half our gold rounded down. We have to exit and re-enter to get the wings I was mentioning, guarded by 2 doors here. So yeah, if you beat the game and you don't have the return spell or wings, it takes about 80 seconds longer to walk home, and I actually did that the first manipulation route I did. It never occurred to me to buy extra keys to get the wings. So things have changed over the months that I've been doing these manipulations. So same concept here, we're gonna save and reset. Set up a new manipulation chain with a new RNG checksum. Oh. Pressed the D-pad slightly too early there. It wasn't asking for input yet. That was probably too late. Yeah. I can usually tell, like, not for every game necessarily, but for this game I've got a really good intuition for frame lengths. That looks good. He's gonna go left, yep. And the ladies will go right, right, up, right, left, left. So we are on the correct frame. We are exactly where we want to be. Our next stop is Hawksness, where we're going to fight an Axe Knight for Erdrick's armor. And it's the same concept as the Goldnan. We need the sleep spell to be able to defeat him. I always like to remark how amazingly clean this section is. There are only 4 stops on the way to Hawksness. We've only stopped once so far, and we're still going. There's still quite a bit of distance before the second stop. Get to walk all the way down to here before stop number 2. Sometimes the RNG just works out that way. Stop number 3 is right here. And then just one stop here in the desert. There's also one stop inside of Hawksness before we fight the Axe Knight. And after the Axe Knight, I'm gonna do something really difficult. We're gonna set up a new manipulation chain out of here after clearing 2 text boxes. And we're gonna go pick up Erdrick's token, if everything works out perfectly. Use another excellent move here. And that's all we need. Okay, here we go. Okay, we cleared those pretty quickly, so we should be okay. It looks like we're gonna get a dragon, yeah. Everything's good so far. We have to stop on the bridge next. Good. Stop here, and here. Another stop here. And then here. Then we search this square for Erdrick's token. Immediately clear the text box and start walking, and here's our Death Warp. Now, I've charted this one. I know that as long as I hold the A button, this knight will not cast Stop Spell, and he will defeat us in 2 attacks. So that is a predetermined Death Warp. In fact, he got us exactly for our 22 HP there. So that worked out really nicely. Now we're going to do a safety save for Marathon Safety. Usually nothing goes wrong in the grave, but if it did, I would have to reset and try again, and I'd have to do the Axe Knight and token section over again. But with this safety save, if something goes wrong, we only have to repeat Garen's grave. We have to pick up the Stones of Sunlight first, which is what one of our keys was for. Now we only have 2 keys left, and both of them are going to be used in Garinham, which is the next place we're going, so we liquidate our keys pretty quickly in this. Oops. So yeah, we'll pick up the stones, and then we'll head straight for Garinham. So for an unmanipulated section, every once in a while we get these really long walks with no enemies, and then other times I'll get swarmed by enemies and it'll just look like night and day. Such as the...
Might I say a word?
Yes.
Omax has donated $50, saying, "Here is my donation for my alerts from the previous run that was played, going to Zero Suit Samus for a Link to the Past randos." Thank you very much for the donation, Omax. We really appreciate it.
And I'm getting flashbacks from AGDQ when donations would be read in this section.
Hey, I observed well. I learned.
So I have to remember not to pick up any treasure chests here. I play a lot of Dragon Warrior Randomizer, and every time we get in here, getting 3 treasure chests is a big deal. We have to search them all. But in Dragon Warrior, if I were to pick up those chests, it would change our RNG checksum, having additional items in our inventory. So if I pick one up, I would literally have to reset and redo this section over again. Now there's very little danger of anything going wrong here, but again, we do that safety save just in case. We are only at level 7, and if we were to get ambushed by a Wraith Knight on, like, the floor after this is when they start coming, and we weren't able to run away, then that's one of the ways it can go wrong. Druin Lord is an excellent Death Warp enemy once we've actually picked up the Silver Harp at the end of our path, but right now they're fairly easy to run from, so not worried about encountering them. Definitely one of the ones I like to see. In reality, anything but a Wraith Knight is great. Spectre is the easiest to run from. They do have the sleep spell, which I believe they cast 50% of the time. So here's a sleep. Fortunately, they are really weak, and we have Erdrick's armor, so we take minimal damage from the hurt spell. And sleep is unlikely to keep us asleep for very long, so I'm really not worried about this. And they're really easy to run from. But what I will do here is take a safety heal. We are gaining 1 HP per step we take because we have Erdrick's armor, but because we took so much damage, I was just going to cast the heal spell there once, so we get some of that HP back, just in case something weird happens. And as I say, a Druin Lord is the second best Death Warp enemy behind a Wraith Knight, so I'm always really happy to see a Druin Lord here. It gives us a really fast Death Warp. He'll defeat us here. We move on to the final section, which is by far the longest section. It's basically chaining 5 subsections together. We're going to save and reset first, and then we're going to see what this looks like. Good timing there. Guard's going to go down, because I know I got the right... Whoops! Now, I menued too quickly there, so we're gonna have to start again. Guard's gonna go right. So this is also a good frame. Up, up. Down, right. Down, right. So I should probably try talking a little less during this section. Make sure I focus on getting everything right, but basically we're going to be doing 5 different complex tasks all together in one vast manipulation, and I'm going to be tying them together basically by encountering a random enemy and using that enemy to determine exactly what frame I'm on. Because after we accomplish each task, there's going to be at least 1 text box to clear, and we cannot buffer a text box clear. We don't know what frame it's going to happen on. First one's going to be in here, when we acquire the Staff of Rain. We actually have to clear 2 text boxes here, so we'll see what this looks like. That one was good. Should be alright. Okay, we should be good. Second task is to pick up the Rainbow Drop, so we have to go all the way south to the Rainbow Drop Cave, which we so affectionately refer to as the Jerk Cave, because of our jerk host's disposition in that cave. We're gonna stop here and a longer pause here, as we continue to avoid random encounters. Another pause here. Same process as we continue on our merry way towards the Rainbow Drop Cave. Three more stops before the staircase. Oh, I went too early. That's happened to me before, and sadly we just have to go back to the beginning of the section again. Guard's gonna go down. And again, we're gonna see the same movement from the ladies. Up, up, down, right, down, right. We're good once again. So yeah, it's very important to be patient as we move down, and then we have to change direction to face the guard before we press the A button. But we need to do it quickly because something really weird happens when you bonk into a wall and then try to open a text box. It doesn't open on the frame you expect, so we kind of have to be quick with our movement, or else we could lose a lot of frames, and if we lose too many before we get outside, we won't be able to continue, so I do have to be quick and accurate there. Let's try it again and see what happens. Starting with these two text boxes. That one was good. That one was good, so we should be fine here. Either a Scorpion or a Magidrake outside. We got the same Magidrake as last time, and we're on our way back to the Rainbow Drop Cave. Stopping here, and again the longer pause here to set up a clean cave walk. On our way back down south again. Alright, 3 more stops before the cave. And this time we're going to be really careful changing direction in front of the jerk. Just like that. See what happens here. I think he's going to cast Stop Spell. Yeah. And we're back on track. Into the third section. Gotta take this opportunity to turn up the TV volume a little bit, because I'm gonna need it for bonking in the dark. Walking towards Charlock now. Stopping here. Here. And here. And now, I have to very carefully use the Rainbow Drop. Okay. That should be good. Here we go. Okay. Uh-oh. Sweet. Alright, I just have to think about where I was when that happened. Oh no! Oh, I don't think this is gonna work. That was my controller's fault. Yeah. There was no way to straighten it out. So what we have to do is Death Warp and take our backup. We can save a lot of time by keeping the sword here. That was unfortunately my controller's fault. It started to do that a little bit. When I went right, it took me... It was either up or down. It was not good. So yeah, again we have to save and reset, and the important thing is here, we get to keep all the progress we just made. Ending off with the sword. I'm less familiar with this section, so I've got to pay a little bit more attention to every detail. But I've never had any problems doing it in practice, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, it might be time to retire this controller. I'm happy that it wasn't a mistake I made. It was literally just lateral controller malfunction. Only gonna cost us about 3 minutes. So far, so good. Right here. A little bit longer of a pause there to make sure that I don't get any other encounters on the way to Sharlock. Stopping here. Okay, back to the dark. Ugh. So sadly we have to reset again. Oh. This is the frame we want, so again we're gonna see the ladies go down, down, right, up left. And we're gonna have the same approach here. Stopping here, and here. And a brief little stop here. I'm being really careful on the D-pad now. Don't want to, like, push it the wrong way and activate a lateral direction accidentally. So yeah, I'm not used to this section, because normally when I do a run, we don't have to do these manipulations, when everything goes right the first time. But I'm reading them well on the fly. Feels good. Back into the dark. There we go. Okay. Only one more stop before the Dragon Lord. That's right here. So we're just gonna go talk to the Dragon Lord now. And we're gonna manipulate our way through this very complex battle. It actually takes a really long time to route out this battle, because not many of the iterations give us results that we actually really want. We're trying to beat him as fast as we can, so we want to do, like, 10 damage or near 10 damage as often as possible. And we also need him to cast Stop Spell after that, so that he doesn't do damage to us. And the principle is the same in the next phase of the battle, except we wouldn't be able to win if we didn't keep him asleep. So we're going to put him to sleep first, and then we're going to do manipulations that keep him asleep. Weird to be on the Dragon Lord with 14 HP and have the screen not be red. So everything throughout here has to be entirely perfect. The only reason we're able to do this is because our entire approach to the Dragon Lord was exactly perfect. And that's why if we make one mistake on approach, we just have to reset and try again. Right down to these manipulations, which still have to be perfect every time. If we make one mistake, there's no way to reset ourselves, so it's... It's not like we make it to the Dragon Lord and we're just set. We still have to be very careful. One more to go. 2 commands. Command, command. And that should do it. We got him. Thank you. So this is where we use the wings to get back home, and we save that 80-second walk that I was talking about before. And I'll give a quick 3-second countdown for where time ends, which is last input, the last input required to before the credits advance on their own. 3, 2, 1, time. And that's Dragon Warrior. Thank you all so much for watching. I will be back a little bit later for a couple other things. Dragon Warrior Randomizer, Zelda 1, Race Against BT, lots of other good stuff coming up. Enjoy the marathon, everyone.
A very quick thank you, shout out to Madelsberger for donating $100, saying a link to the past randomizer in inverted mode for the win. In fact, that does meet the donation incentive for that, so our runners will be playing on inverted mode. Thank you very much to NESCardinality for the beautiful runs. Up next, we have Megmac Attack playing Super Metroid Nintendo Power Percent. As always, we will just be right back. You can see some of our beautiful prizes going through as we do, so stay tuned. There are a lot of fun runs coming up next.